In this lesson, we're gonna see how to render the particles. So let's go to the emitter particles, and you can see here we have the particle type. As you see, I am in the rendering tab. So the first option is the lit, and we have the emissive. Emissive will emit light from the particles, as you see, and I can control the emissive boost from here. If I decrease that, I am removing the light from the particles, and if I increase that, I am boosting the emissive color. And you can see here we have the particles blend type. You can change that to additive, and you can change that to translucent additive too. It depends on the effect you want to create. Let's keep it to the translucent for now. And you can see when I change the particle type to emissive, I can see here we have new option. It's called inject light in the scattering. Basically, if you have a smoke, this will inject the light into the smoke, so the smoke will be affected with the particles. I will show you how this works in a moment. You can see here we have the initial color type. We have uniform color, we have random per particle. So if I click on random per particle, and you can see here we have a tip. It's written expose the initial color to use non-uniform color. So basically we need to go there and click once and twice, and now I promoted the initial color node here, and I can click and drag, and I want to add gradient color there. And now I can choose few colors, for example a red color, and let's choose one green maybe, and the other one let's choose light blue, and let's reset that. You can see we have random color on the particles, but this is the initial color. So basically each particle will born with specific color or with random color. It's not changing over their lives. So if I go ahead and decrease that just to show you what's happening in the viewport, as you see each particle has a color, and you can come over here and change that. For example, the position based. So basically they are colored based on their position. We have based on the velocity. They will be colored based on their velocity. And let's see, we have the cycle with time. It's coloring based on the time, and we have the per particle matching the lifetime too, and we have this one too. So feel free to explore what each one does for you. And now I'm gonna change that. Let's go ahead and turn off the input, and you can see we have, let's go back to uniform color first, and you can see we have modulation type. So basically I want to change the color based on their life. For example, I'm gonna change over life, and this time you can see again we have exposed the modulation color to use non-uniform color. So I'm gonna choose once and twice, and I exposed that. So now if I link that to the color, so now the particles color will be changed over their lives, as you see, and I can change based on the speed too. And here you can control the limit too. Let's go back to the over life, and you can reverse that. So if I click on that, basically you are reversing the color gradient. And we have the opacity too. It's obvious what it does. You can control the opacity of the particles. Let's go ahead and boost that a little bit. So now let's talk about the inject light in the scattering. First of all, we need to render the smoke. So if I go to the injection, and if I increase that, and let's see, if I hit space, as you see I don't see any smoke because I need to go ahead and turn off the render particles. So now I can see the smoke, as you see, but the problem is now we don't see the particles. I want to see the particles to emit light from the particles into the smoke. So as you remember, we need to add the volume process. So let's type volume, processing. Let's connect the volume to the volume and the volume to the volume of the scene. And now we should see that. Let's reset that. As you see, we have interesting lighting going through the smoke. Let's go ahead and add some noise. Let's add force noise, and I'm gonna increase the amplitude too, and let's hit space and see. As you see, we get really interesting result. And you can come again there and increase the lighting. Looking so cool. And you can see when the emitters comes to the last point, it stops emitting the particles. As you remember, in the emission, we said that velocity higher than, so we set a condition there. That's why the particles are stopping at the last key.